So we're back on the banks. Today you've joined me on the drains, and I've actually come down to a drain I've never fished before, and believe it or not, this drain has probably produced more big pike than any other drain on the systems around here. I did speak to a couple of people a while back and they did say that there was still a few big pike left in this drain. Now, as you can imagine, these drains are miles and miles long, so it's not going to be a case of turn up and just get amongst the big fish, but it looks nice. It looks really, really nice. It was about -1 last night, but the conditions are improving and hopefully the catch rates will as well. Now, with it being my first time on the drain, I know obviously nothing about it depths wise. Oh, it's fairly shallow. Not much debris there. You see a few dead rushes and reeds in the corners. And all I'm going to do is, you know, exactly what I do on every session I do is fan the rods about. We're going to go for the margins. That's perfect. Looking at this actual section of the drain, it's not overly pressured. You know, there's no footprints, there's no marks where people have been. So, all in all, I think if any fish come through this area, it might be a case of getting them straight away. Oh no, 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 no. Oh, it's an otter. Oh, please don't say you've hooked yourself, please. Please don't. Oh, thank God for that. This has happened quite a few times. I've had otters take the bait. I wonder what that was on the far margin. Absolute pain in the backside. I've got to be really careful now because, I mean, luckily that didn't do anything to the bait at all. I just seen a bit of movement. I didn't know if it was a cormorant or not. It just went under the surface and then moved along, popped up in the margins, and I thought, is it a moorhen? And then all of a sudden, I seen it coming through. Tiny, tiny little baby otter, which is, now that's not too good if I'm honest. Otters do like to patrol drains and any rivers, but that is not what you want. Believe it or not, I've had lots of otters take the bait and I haven't hooked into them. You'd think straight away they'd grab the bait, they'd be biting it and you'd be hooking them, but luckily that was a close call because I have hooked an otter before and I've had to just cut the line. That'll be fine. Wow. So I'm just looking at this drain. Oh no, don't tell me there's another otter there. Yeah, that was close. That was very, very close. I've hooked into, I think they're called dog otters, the big, massive ones. They're really big adults. And I've been snarred fishing a lake. There was a really big lake, no fishing allowed. And I used to go down there carp fishing, I had some massive carp. And while I was on those sessions, I used to see big pike coming through. Now, I don't fish for pike out of season. So when I say out of season, I mean pike fishing in England, generally speaking, dead baiting is October till March. And then through the summertime and the warmer months, low oxygen levels, recovery for pike is a nightmare. And that's why most considerate anglers don't fish for them. If you're lure fishing for small ones, they're not too bad, but when you're targeting the big pike dead baiting, it's a big no-no, for me anyway, and I know a lot of responsible anglers that don't dead bait in summertime. But each to their own, you know, I'm not going to stand here and say don't do this and don't do that, but I personally don't do it. But I've hooked into big massive otters on lakes before, and you just have to cut your line, you've got no chance. But that was a tiny little otter, probably 2.5 foot long. And there wasn't many marks on the bait, so it must have either caught the line or investigated near the bait, maybe picked it up and then quickly dropped it, which I'm guessing that's what it might have done with me making a noise, because they can be quite skittish. If you make a noise when they're nearby, they'll quickly go underwater and move away. But I did see a really large splash on the left-hand side, and I thought it might be a pike moving through the surface. And I stood there for 5 minutes, couldn't see anything. Then an object popped up in the margins and I thought it was a moorhen pop up, and then it quickly went down underwater. And then sod's law, it was a baby otter. So I think they've got a radius of about 5 to 10 miles, I think. So all of this drain is going to be occupied, I think, by one family of otters. You don't get like several families, from what I've been told anyway. I don't know if it's true or not. But it's not very often you see otters. I mean, I've seen them on the Trent. Well, I've seen them on every venue I've ever fished. I've always seen an otter there. But normally when you're there, you're active and you're making a bit of noise with your casting or whatnot, then they normally stay away. But yeah, hopefully we don't get any more. If I see any more otters on here, I'm going to quickly wrap away and move. But it's not going to put me off fishing, and I say that because I've done it on sessions before where I've seen otters, they've been moving through, and I've caught fish within 10 minutes of even being in the area. Because pike, I've never really found many pike dead from otter wounds. Carp, tench and the smaller fish, yeah, I've seen a few, but pike, I mean, they're a very fast creature anyway. The lateral line will pick up any movement nearby, and if you have got an otter near, normally they'd shot off anyway. So it's quiet. It's 10 minutes to 10. We've been here a couple of hours now, so I've got no idea what the results are gonna show. It has it's ruined the confidence a little bit, that has, though. I mean, I'm sort of 50-50 on what we're going to get anyway. With it being a new section of drain, don't really know if I'm going to be catching anything or I'm going to be blanking. I mean, these conditions aren't the best anyway. We've probably got an hour of bite time, and then when that sun rises to the top, that's it's going to be sort of game over, I think. So we're coming up to about 11 o'clock. It's dead, there's nothing here. And with a stroke of luck, I've actually spoken to somebody who fishes on here on the regular basis. He actually lives just around the corner. And he does 3 or 4 sessions a week on here. Normally about 5, 6 o'clock, the witching hour, when you're expecting to get some decent pike. And he showed me a couple of the pictures of the 30s he's actually had from me. He's been on here for about 15 years and he's had 3 30s in all that time. So it goes to show they are, you know, quite difficult to catch. But the past 2 months he's hardly had anything. It's been completely dead. So I'm actually glad I spoke to him now, because it gives me the incentive to quickly pack away, go to a productive drain that I know produces a few fish, give it a go the rest of today and tonight. And if we don't get anything from there, then it's going to be a case of just moving to different venues and just trying his luck, because I'm not too sure if it's going to be a tricky week or not. I've got sort of Tuesday to Friday. Conditions are glorious, you know, the weather's absolutely beautiful, but for the fishing, it's not that good. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to quickly wrap the rods away, we'll shoot over to another drain, and then we'll give it a go there and hopefully get a few fish in the bag. Right, here we are. I'm back at the Old Faithful. This has done some really big pike for me over the past couple of years, and the banks, oh, they're nice and dried out. The last time I think I was in this peg, I was sliding up and down here, but yeah, drain's not looking too bad, fairly low, quite a bit of debris coming through, but all in all, it's got to be worth a shot. And if we don't get anything from here, then we'll move to the river, give that a go. But I think I don't know, is it still going to be testing times? Conditions obviously aren't the best. It's quite windy, bright sunny skies. Right, let's get the tackle out and then see if we can get some big pike. Let's give it a go down this left hand side. Right, we are ready to rock and roll. If we haven't had anything by tomorrow morning, then it's a very clear indicator that it's just not happening. It's just one of them things, it's out of your control. You can try your best, but sometimes nothing's going to happen. And then if that happens, then I've got a special water that I'm going to be visiting, and I'm just going to have to call it a day for a few days and just wait, really. It's just one of them, it's part and parcel of fishing. But this special venue I'm going to has got some absolutely monstrous pike in, so we're going to have to play it by ear. but that is an absolutely immaculate fenland drain pike, and something that I'm happy to see. So I'm not going to mess about, I'll get her back. This is on the left end rod, absolutely ripped off, gave a great fight, full of energy, and look at that, like a metallic silver colour. Absolutely beautiful, and just what you need when you're thinking about going home and you think the conditions aren't right. But I've got a feeling these next couple of days we might get some absolute monstrous pike coming through this peg. I've just got this feeling, I don't know why. That's why I thought I'd do a whole week now. So yeah, fingers crossed we can get a bigger one. But that is a lovely, lovely pike. Wicked. Had a nice fresh delivery of sardine. Quickly show you from Bradley's Fish. This is the supply I use them every year. Absolutely brilliant, nice and fresh. I've made a new trace up, but I've used the same trebles on this particular one. Still sharp as anything. So right, let's get this one in. And that fish was in the left hand margins, which is a really good place. I think a lot of the videos I've done on this channel has produced quite a few fish, and to be honest, that left hand margin's brilliant for big pike. I've had quite a few of those. Just targeting it probably, I don't know, rod length, maybe rod length and a half. Right, we'll get this out there. It's 4:45 now, so we are due as the last recast because we are in the witching hour. Well, we are in the witching hour. It is 6 o'clock and it's still fairly light, to be honest. I mean, it is starting to get a little bit dark, but the nights are drawing out now, which is really nice. So give it a couple of weeks, we'll be in, you know, spring's going to be here, and then we can start venturing out for some other different species. I've enjoyed the pike fishing I've been doing this season, but I'm not going to lie, I think this is the first year ever where I've got a little bit bored of it on certain venues that I've been fishing. My time was supposed to be on a lake fishing for a 40-pounder, but when it died, it completely ruined the fishing for me. I just didn't know where I was going to go, what I was going to do, and obviously the drains, I thought, right, okay, try and get a 30 from there. Not very realistic, if I'm honest, but we've got every chance of catching one. You just never know. That's going to be the joys of this week's fishing. And next week we're going to be doing half drains, half river, and just have a mixed bag for the end of the season. We've had plenty of fish this sort of autumn and winter, so I can't really grumble what we've had. But it would be nice for a big one tonight. I'm always open for a big one. Doesn't matter where I go, what I'm trying to do, it's always got to be a big one. I've caught plenty of small ones when I was younger, and when you grow up, that's all you want to target, because some people do say to me, aren't you happy with what you catch? Why are you always trying to get the bigger one? Well, everyone's the same, you know. You go out, you get one, you want 3, you get a 20, you want a 30, and it's just part and parcel of fishing. And that's mainly because it's specimen fishing. I'm not normally targeting the smaller ones. If I was lure fishing, then I wouldn't be bothered. A nice bit of sport out for a few hours, but when I'm doing this kind of fishing, it's the big fish I'm after, and that's why I'm always dead baiting. So yeah, time is slowly ticking on. Hopefully tonight we can get some action. I've got all the gear with me. If the GoPro cuts out for any reason whatsoever, which it has been doing today on the sort of few occasions, apologies for that. So if I'm playing a fish tonight and it cuts out, that's the reason why. I bought a load of batteries, and they're not branded GoPro ones, so you put the GoPro on and it's turning on and off and all sorts. So hopefully we don't get any more problems with that. But I'm settling for the night now, get the kettle on, have a brew, and hopefully some big pike will come along. Well, I'm ending the video here. It's been a very up and down 24 hours, if I'm honest. Yesterday I was thinking about calling it a day, just spending this week doing nothing, just getting some stuff together, planning for some sessions ahead of us. But I'm going to be adamant and stay here for the rest of the week. We had one yesterday that came through. To be honest, I thought it was going to blank. Honestly, about 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, I thought, do I set the bivvy up or do I call it a day? But luckily enough, we had a really nice fish yesterday. So hopefully some more come through today and tomorrow and the day after, but only time will tell. So I just want to thank everyone for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.